Patterson Foundation
strengthens people, organizations, and communities by focusing on issues that address mutual aspirations,
foster wide participation, and encourage learning and sharing.
Welcome to Beyond the Blog, a podcast of the Patterson Foundation. Hi, I'm Kiera Lewis, the Patterson Foundation's Initiative Support Coordinator, and your host today to explore and definitely explain the excitement behind Exponent Philanthropy's annual conference, which is happening this month. And there's no one better to help me do that than Paul Daugherty, the CEO of Exponent Philanthropy. Paul, welcome to the podcast.
It's such a joy. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Starting with the conference happening in probably just next week, I believe. Do you mind sharing how is this year's conference similar and different from what has been done in the past?
Great question. The similarity is that Exponent's membership is a place that decision makers come together with humility and willingness to support each other. It's a very supportive community, and I've been a part of a lot of different philanthropy networks in the country, locally and nationally. And I think what stands out as to a recurring theme is that our staff, our membership, our board are really supportive of how do people in philanthropic roles have the greatest impact in their community, the greatest ability to enhance and enrich place, going back to that transform communities to inform given vision, is really putting that in place from the technical skills, but the human skills as well, the leadership talents. So with that ability of that continuation is that, most national conferences you go to, when there's breakout sessions or a keynote, there's usually a sizable amount of people who are still meeting in the hallways and talking. The one key thing at Expo is that people want to go to sessions. They want to seek out the content and learn from one another, and they want to have the structured conversations, but the coffee line conversations or the activities. So that environment continues and is a very strong element of that. And our thanks to Althea Georgantis and Heather Ukrin on our staff, who have done tremendous work around creating the space and the experience. Secondly, is what's a little bit different is that we're continuing to see, higher numbers of attendance again, coming out of the past few years, as well as providing a space for new themes and new issues. So, we have 45 curated breakout sessions over the 3 days, 45 of them. And so those are member proposals and recommendations that come through. So that's a key thing there, that it's member created and informed. But then secondly is that they adapt to what's going on. We're not just talking about the fundamentals or the technical skills of how to manage your compliance and governance and your finances and your investment and your grant making. We're looking at how does the foundation provide leadership around its board's evolution? How are they informing and putting at the table the lived experience of the community and what the community really needs are? And so in this year's conference experience, I mentioned before the catalytic leadership and philanthropy work, is that there's multiple sessions that really lift up not just the skill sets, but this mindset, this leadership practice of how funders are not just there to give money away, but they're to provide a very critical leadership role in the community, not out of arrogance, but out of humility and partnership. One of the other things is that we rotate around the country, and so we really want to lift up the local community experience. Exponent's conference is one where we really invest a sizable amount of money in the local community between the cost and the hosting of the event, but also our members coming in. And so with us being in Austin, Texas this year, is that there'll be experiences with site visits and tours in the community that lift up the challenges and the opportunities going on in the Texas and Austin community, as well as being able for us to recognize and support local businesses. From my standpoint, I'm a bit jealous for our conference attendees. I got to work the event. That's my job. I'm not complaining about it. But when I look at the agenda and the program's experience, I'm like, I would like to attend this conference. I'd like to be in the rooms and the sessions. Someday, maybe when I retire, I'll be doing that part. But I think, again, that connectivity of building a space of welcomeness, of community, of learning from peers, and that ability to be enriched and it's member driven. But then the other space is constantly evolving. Our two keynotes this year, really excited about. We have multiple keynotes, but two of them is we're having leaders from the Center for Effective Philanthropy talk about what are the trends and things taking place in the philanthropic sector. We're also having those as an ABC presidential historian and also the CEO of the LBJ Foundation talking about the context of our times, leadership from a historical perspective going into the future as to how philanthropy leads, especially being a week after this major election, as we look at philanthropy's role going into 2025. And then we'll also be celebrating and acknowledging our members. We have our Outsized Impact Award, and so we'll be doing an interview of this year's recipients, talking about their work, about how they're doing outsized impact in their community. Why we are a national network, a national organization with very strong turnout of 600 plus attendees this year, we're very community rooted. And so these are stories of local lean funders doing incredible work. A lot of them are staffs of, small staff or volunteer based who are there really focused on wanting to see the community to thrive. And so that's one other part. It's like celebrating and lifting up these stories of our members and their work to be examples to others and for them to collaborate and replicate what's working and also be able to identify what's not and to do better in their home communities.
Thank you for sharing that. I think a couple of things that definitely stood out as you shared what's different and what's same with the upcoming conference is something that we often hear here at TPF, which is more than money philanthropy. Funders have definitely more to offer than they're just their fund. It can be just showing up and asking the right questions. It could be convening. It can be connections. Another second thing that came to my mind is the idea at TPF of sharing your cookies. We all have our cookies, which can be our information, our knowledge, our expertise, but sometimes we like to keep them in our cookie jar. But if we want to make an impact, we have to open up our cookie jar and open up our cookies, as in our experience and our expertise with others, especially when it comes to what's working. We don't want it to only be working here, but we want it to be working elsewhere and create that positive impact. And I think that's very commendable. It seems like Exponent Philanthropy is really willing to adapt and evolve to best serve what you're hearing your members are communicating. I could definitely see that's going to be represented in the program that's happening for the conference. So sorry that you won't get to attend as a participant, but very thankful to you and your team to all the work that goes into putting a conference. We're working on a symposium here in 2025, and I've gotten some inside behind the scenes look into all that goes into planning of that magnitude. So thank you already. I know it will be amazing. I do want to also share with our audience that two TPFers have the privilege of getting to present at one of the breakout sessions, and that's going to be Beth Duda, the director of the Suncoast Campaign for Grade Level Reading, and Erica Henry, who is a TPF fellow here at the Patterson Foundation, and they will be presenting Accelerating Change, Cultivating Trust Through Shared Experiences, which will discover how events can serve as powerful catalysts for enduring community engagement. So we are definitely looking forward to all that they've learned and all that they shared once they come back. But I would love to know, what are you excited for, Paul? Even if you will be working the event, what are you looking most forward to?
Well, please know I'm not complaining about working an event. I'm very so excited to be hosting 600 close friends and colleagues. And the Patterson Foundation has been such a critical partner. Deborah's presented in the past, other staff have presented, and the fellows have been there. And we're always so appreciative of members bringing forward their stories and their work. The part I'm an extrovert by nature, so just being in community with our members and hearing about their work, their challenges, their opportunities, and setting that space for them to support each other, to learn, and also talk about how be vulnerable, how do we do these things better in the context of challenges of whether it's local community, regional, state, or national level. I think the other part too is we're going to be rolling out at the conference, and you alluded to this a few minutes, is more publicly on some critical things we've been working on over the past 2 years. One is our refreshed strategic plan. We'll be sharing out to folks during our annual members meeting on Saturday morning. When I came in 22, we had an existing strategic plan that was well thought out, but it was in the context of 2018, 2019. It was launched in early 2020 before the world changed. And so now we're kind of adapting that. And that's one thing our board worked together and passed in July.